Good morning! I'm Tasha and welcome to Discover Community Church, where we love God, love people, and make a difference. Thank you for joining us today. If you're in person, grab a snack. Get comfortable and settle in for an amazing experience. And for those of you who are joining us online, let us know where you're from. We love to connect with you. Our chat monitors are online and they're ready to greet and assist you throughout our experience today. Here's what's in store for today. We'll kick things off with an uplifting praise and worship. We'll center ourselves for a mindful moment, and then we'll dive in today's sermon. We are so glad you're here with us today, and we can't wait to worship together. Let's get started.
Soul. Yes, sir. Oh, Holy Lamb, precious Lamb, so much I owe to you, O Lord. You sacrificed your life for me. Give you praise. I give you praise. I will rejoice. And I will sing. Holy, oh precious King. In you there's joy. In you there's peace. Almighty Savior. Come on, my soul loves thee. Come on, oh Holy Lamb. Oh precious Lamb. So much I owe to you, oh Lord. You sacrificed your life for me. I give you praise. Come on, give it to him.
DCC Mindful Moment is a mindfulness practice designed to help us improve our ability to decrease stress, anxiety, and regulate our emotions. This time is intended to help us focus our attention and observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. We invite you to join us. Find a comfortable position, remove any distractions, and prepare to experience God through our connection with the world around us. Close your eyes. Feel your body settle, your breath deepen. Picture yourself standing quietly at the threshold of a door. Beyond it lies something not yet revealed. New experiences, moments unfolding just out of sight. There is a gentle stirring inside you, a soft energy that wakes with curiosity rather than rush. It is as if your heart is leaning forward, opening to greet the morning light. You are aware of the space between now and what comes next, a precious pause full of possibility. With each breath, welcome this feeling, an eager calmness that blends excitement with patience. It holds the delicate balance between readiness and mystery, allowing you to simply be present, poised for whatever will arrive. Notice the smile that begins to form, a quiet joy of knowing that life continues to move and grow. In this moment, you are right where you need to be, holding space for what is yet to come. All of this unfolding, looking forward and waiting with open arms is anticipation. Open your eyes. Carry this patient energy with you as you move toward your next moment.
Good morning and welcome to Discover Community Church. My name is Wesley Johnson and I have the awesome privilege to serve as senior pastor here. And I'm so glad that you decided to join us this morning. Hopefully you're at one of our watch parties. If you're there, I know our greeters have helped you out. I know your children are well. You've probably already grabbed a honey bun and some juice. If you're online, make sure you shout out where you are from, where you're watching from, so that we can properly connect with you. Here at Discover Community Church, we've made a decision that we want to be a loving community engaged in the process of healing and hope for all. So everything that we do here is about creating that community, uplifting the name of Jesus, and making sure we're providing healing and hope for all. So I'm so glad that you decided to join us and that you're here today. Well, I want to tell you about something that my family does. My family is known for quoting movies. Since I was a young boy, that's what we did. Okay, we watch movies, we quote them. And so I have a family now, me and my wife and my 3 daughters. We quote movies in our house. I'm pretty sure you do the same in yours. There are memorable lines from every movie that you have. And so one quote that we use, and I want to tell you about, is from a movie called Holes, which is a Disney movie that came out in the early 2000s. Okay, in this movie, there's this backstory of injustice, jealousy, greed, corrupt systems. It talks about all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, a young man who was wrongly accused is sent to a camp where he has to dig holes. Okay. And throughout this process, you'll see little backstories and flashbacks from time before. And all these flashbacks come and converge. And one of these flashbacks is of the warden when she was younger and she had to dig holes. And this is a phrase that we say in our house all the time. And it's this young lady, and she says to a grandfather, "I'm tired of this, grandpa." And the grandpa responds and says, "That's too dang bad. Keep digging." And so in our house, we always say that. I'm pretty sure you've probably seen it on a meme, on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. And how we use it in our household is just a fun and lighthearted way to encourage each other when we don't feel like completing a task. So if we're cleaning up around the house, if we see someone that's doing some homework and they're struggling with something, you'll hear one of us say, "I'm tired of this, grandpa." And then everyone in unison will say, "That's too dang bad. Keep digging." And so it's our way when we're doing workouts, when we're doing chores, when we're doing bills, to just keep digging. There's something that you're looking for. There's something that you're searching for. There's a treasure that you can get to. And so in this lighthearted way, this is how we encourage each other. And if you don't remember anything about this message today, I need you to grab hold of this. Even when life seems unfair and you're tired, keep digging. I want to take you to a story in the book of Genesis, chapter 26, where God gives a promise to a young man after he gave a promise to that young man's father. And their family has to go through processes of digging wells. And through that process, God blesses them and opens up more space for them and for their family. And at this time, I think this will be an encouragement for all of us that might be experiencing bad times, that have to keep digging, have to keep doing things to sustain life. That life at times seems unfair, and honestly, we're tired. But I'm going to encourage you today to keep digging. So why were they digging in Genesis chapter 26? Well, they were digging because they were creating what are called wells. Wells are when you dig into the earth and you dig far enough to get to fresh water. Water is a sustainer of life. In this area, they were in this place called Gerar, and they didn't have power tools. They didn't have excavators, anything like that. They had to use picks and shovels to dig down somewhere as little as 40 feet, but sometimes up to 100 feet to get to fresh water to sustain life. They needed this water for them to drink. You know, as humans, we are mainly comprised of water. It is something that we need. We can't go more than 3 days without some form of water. They also needed water for their livestock. It's how they fed their sheep and their goats and their camels. Water was also used in agriculture. It was needed to water corn and wheat and other vegetation so that they could eat. Water is critical for life. Jesus even uses water as an example of how he is living water, and that once we drink from him, we'll never thirst again. He's a sustaining water. And so we want to dive into this passage. We're going to look at verses 1-6, and then we're going to look at verses 12-22. And we're going to look at how this family had to dig wells to sustain life. And despite all the obstacles that they faced, they just kept digging. So let's look at Genesis chapter 26, starting in verse 1, and it says this. A severe famine now struck the land, and as had happened before in Abraham's time. So Isaac moved to Gerar, where Abimelech, king of the Philistines, lived. The Lord appeared to Isaac and said, do not go down to Egypt, but do as I tell you. So before we dive further into those verses, first we got to realize here is someone where they are stationed in the land and they experience a huge famine. Things are not working out. They can't grow anything in the current place that they're in. If they were to stay there, they would die. Now, in our land, someone could even describe our current economy, our current situations as a severe famine. We've never had such low job figures, people struggling to find jobs. We're having increased prices of basic needs like bread and eggs and milk. Our utilities are going up. Y'all, our utility bill jumped 3 times as much as it usually is in just 1 month. So all these things are happening. We can understand what a severe famine can feel like. And so here's a person that is experiencing a famine. And I love what happens in verse 2. It says that the Lord appeared. Sometimes we are rushing and doing so much. We're trying to just survive and make ends meet that sometimes we have to slow down and let God appear to us and allow him to speak to us and give us the next steps we need to make. In verse 3, the Lord begins to tell Isaac what to do. Verse 3, he says, live here as a foreigner in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. Bless just means empower you to prosper. I hereby confirm that I will give all these lands to you and your descendants, just as I solemnly promised Abraham, your father. I will cause your descendants to become as numerous as the stars of the sky, and I will give them all these lands, and through your descendants, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. I will do this because Abraham listened to me and obeyed all my requirements, commands, decrees, and instructions. So Isaac stayed in Gerar. The first thing we need to know that when we're going through things, we need to hear from God on what we should be doing. And that is going to be different for every single person. In this instance, God told one person to move. We'll see in other instances that as obstacles come up, God may tell us to stay in a certain place. Whatever he tells us to do, it's important that we understand what he's telling us to do and not what others are doing. We need to stop long enough to hear from God and to understand what our next move is. And so for him, he told Isaac where to go. He told him that he would bless him and that he would sustain him and give him land. So let's remember that as he's going through this process. So let's jump down to verse 12. Verse 12 says, when Isaac planted his crops that year, he harvested 100 times more grain than he planted, for the Lord blessed him. So Isaac, you can see his faith already. There's a severe famine. You've moved And now God is telling you to plant, and you believe that God is going to bless you. So you begin to plant. You begin to do the work. And as we see in verse 13, he says he became a very rich man and his wealth continued to grow. He acquired so many flocks of sheep and goats, herds of cattle, and servants that the Philistines became jealous of him. So here is Isaac experiencing a bad time, listening to God, moving, and things are starting to work out. You know, it's almost like you start a new business, things are starting to pick up, things are going well. You start a new job, things are going pretty good. You're feeling good, feel like you're doing the right thing. You are starting ministry, you're helping the community, you're doing good work. You're feeling good. Things are starting to prosper. Not just from a financial outward standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint, things are growing, things are flourishing, things are happening. And yet it said the Philistines became jealous of him. I'm letting you know that as soon as you begin to follow what God is telling you to do, there will be people that become jealous of what's happening in your life. You know, did you know that the most educated group of individuals that have PhDs are African-American women? African-American women are prospering. They're glowing. They're doing big things. This is a time frame where African-Americans are bringing in more money than we ever have in history. After being oppressed, after coming to this land, we're doing good things. But there are some people that are going to start getting jealous of what's happening in our lives. Verse 15 says this: so the Philistines filled up all of Isaac's wells with dirt. These were the wells that had been dug by the servants of his father and Abraham. So in verse 15, we start to see that as things are happening, as things are flourishing, they've done the work, they've dug the wells, they've started their businesses, they've started the work, they've started the ministries, they're getting rooted and grounded. They finally got the house that they've always desired. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're not bothering anybody else, but people start to see what's happening in their lives and they begin to get jealous. And so what do? After they've spent all their hard work digging 40, 100 feet down, doing the school work, staying up late, doing 2 or 3 jobs, working together, doing all this work to make their community better, it says that people will start to try to throw dirt in your wells. Try to throw dirt on the life that you've built, that you've dug, that you've created. They're going to try to throw dirt in these things. Verse 16 says, finally, Abimelech ordered Isaac to leave the country. Go somewhere else, he said, for you have become too powerful for us. So Isaac moved away to the Gerar Valley, where he set up their tents and settled down. So here is Isaac doing what God has called him to do, flourishing and doing well and not bothering anyone. And people from the outside begin to hate and begin to throw dirt and cause them to move away from the places where they are. You know, it's almost like you work really hard to make a living in a community somewhere like Greenwood or somewhere like North Durham or somewhere like Wilmington. And for some reason, people begin to get jealous of what you're building and what you're working together to do as a community. And people want to throw dirt on it. They want to fill up your lakes and turn them into a dry land. They want to burn down your homes and burn down your businesses and burn down your towns. They want to flood your towns that were flourishing so they can turn that into a vacation lake or somewhere that they can be. And so they moved from a place where they were at Gerar to the Gerar Valley. If you know anything about a valley, it requires you to go lower. It seems like you're going in the wrong direction and you didn't even do anything. You were just trying to live life and to progress and just to live. You've did your digging. You've did what God told you to do. And yet you're being displaced from your cities. You're being displaced from the places that you've built up. All because people were jealous of you. But Isaac moved anyway. He went down to Gerar Valley where he set up their tents and settled down. Verse 18 says, he reopened the wells his father had dug, which the Philistines had filled in after Abraham's death. Isaac also restored the names Abraham had given them, those wells. So you're telling me that not only have these Philistines done this to you, they previously put dirt on the names and filled in the wells, the life that your ancestors tried to build as well. So this isn't the first time they've done this. This is a systematic jealousy that they have going on. They don't like anything that you do, and so they throw dirt on the previous names of the ancestors and the life that they were trying to build. Like trying to put, bad names on individuals like Martin Luther King, who have done great work, won Nobel Prizes, has worked to create peace and nonviolence, and wants the best, ones that had dreams. And then you have people that tries to throw dirt and says he was never worth anything. Even though he was a believer and a preacher of the gospel, there's still people now who wanted to throw dirt on his name and say he really should not have been recognized for the work, for the wells that he had dug. It seems like history likes to repeat itself, and I love how Scripture gives us a game plan, a way forward to understand what we have to do. And in this scripture, it lets us know we have to keep digging. Verse 19 says, Isaac's servants also dug in the Gerar Valley and discovered a well of fresh water. So after all the movement, after all the jealousy, after everything being moved from your cities, after experiencing famines and just wanting to do what the Lord has called him to do, he gets into the valley and still begins to dig and finds fresh water. That sounds like someone who's resilient. No matter what circumstance you put them in, they still find a way to keep finding sustaining life, to keep dealing with the dirt and removing the dirt and putting the stones along the well to make sure that it stays stable, to get down to the water that's necessary to sustain their life. It means that no matter how much you oppress them, no matter how much you beat them, no matter how much you take from them, no matter how much you steal from them, they still find a way, even in valleys, to find fresh water. But even in the valley, even after doing what God has told you to do, even after being hated on for doing what God has told them to do, Isaac could have got upset about this, but he kept digging. But there's going to be an escalation that happens because you keep digging. So I can't lie to you. I got to let you know that things get tougher as you keep digging. And we'll see that in verse 20. It says this, but then the shepherds from Gerar came and claimed the spring. So here comes someone that did none of the work, but is trying to take all of the credit and all of the rewards. This is the person that wasn't in the gym shooting the shots, but they want the TV rights and all the money from the contracts. This is like someone being in the studio and making a whole soundtrack and making the music, but stealing all of the points off of the CD and taking their money from it. They want to continue to make you a slave. They want you to do the work so that they can have the funds. And so they come in and say, this is our water. How is this your water if you wasn't digging? They said, and they argued over it with Isaac's herdsmen. So Isaac named the well Esek, which means argument. So this is how it begins. They say they want to have a conversation with you. They want to argue. They figure out ways to wordsmith to try to take the work that you have done, and they start this argument. They'll go before the judges and say, this is ours. We have the rights to this, even though they didn't put in the work. This is what they like to do. They like to mask it. You know, this is what the Philistines do. They like to mask it and say that I'm just having a debate with you. I just want to communicate with you. I just want to come onto the HBCU and set up a table and say, I just want to have a debate. I want to entice you. I know you're doing work. I know you're going to school, but I want to do things that cause you to want to argue about what's yours and what's mine, what's better. Even though they had no part to play in digging the well, in sustaining the life, in making the life, in getting the water, they still want to argue about it. So what was the reaction of Isaac? Isaac told his men in verse 21 to dig another well. After they stole from them, they say, let's just dig another well. So verse 21 says, Isaac's men then dug another well, but again, there was a dispute over it. So Isaac named it Sitnah, which means hostility. So I'm letting you know what the Philistines wants to do. They'll start with arguing to try to entice you. But if that doesn't work, if you don't give into the argument and you go and still sustain life, you still dig, you still build, even after they took from your hard work and they filled in dirt from your ancestors' wells, and they just don't want to see you prosper, they'll still come back and they'll start hostility. They'll do things like, instead of, calling it the Philistines, instead of calling it, a Department of Defense that protects, they'll say, I want to fight. I want a Department of War. I want to do things to get you to fight me back. I'll send people to instigate and to bring hostility into your cities. I'll come and camp there to get you to want to engage with me because I want some hostility. I see this life that you're digging, and arguing with you didn't work. So I have to do something that's more hostile. But what did Isaac do even after they came again to steal again from the hard work from the wells that they dug? Verse 22 says, abandoning that one, Isaac moved on. See, here's going to be the trick, because I'm telling you, we're just getting into the argument stage. Hostility is coming. We're going to have to be okay with abandoning something, not getting into that fight, not fighting the way that they want us to fight because they want to take us out. We're not going to go into this thing because the Philistines want their armies to come. They send out their shepherds at first to say that, we're taking this water from you. And now, honestly, that's the biggest gripe with these shepherds that came out to steal this water. They're supposed to be people that help to shepherd a flock and yet they're stealing the life from Isaac and his family. They'll paint a picture that this is God's work while they're stealing from you. And despite all of the arguing and despite all of the hostility, you may have to abandon what you've already built and move on. And it says, and they dug another well. Even after you worked so hard to get that perfect job, to have the perfect work-life balance, you worked so hard to get that house and to lay it out exactly the way that you wanted it to be laid out. Even though you worked so hard to get that degree and people will still be fighting and being hostile against you, you may have to still dig another well. But what did God do this time? It says this time in verse 22, there was no dispute over it. God is saying, when you don't give in, when you follow through what I've told you to do, and when the enemy is even trying to argue with you and try to be hostile towards you, and you still keep doing what I've called you to do. I said I was going to bless you. I said I was going to prosper you. You're doing the things, you're doing the work, you're doing the agriculture, you're doing the things that sustain the life that I told you to have. You keep digging. It says this time they can't dispute over you. After they argue, after they've become hostile and they still don't get the response from you, they're going to move on. So there's no dispute. So Isaac named the place Rehoboth, which means open space. What God has finally promised them to do has now opened up, and now there's more space for what God has called them to do because they didn't give in to the enemy. For he said, at last the Lord has created enough space for us to prosper in this land. Now I know I probably got tired after the first well. I'd have been pissed off when they filled in all the wells from my ancestors. I know that we get tired, we get sick, we get weary of everything that's going on. And you might even want to say, Lord, I'm tired of this. But I'm here to tell you, it's too dang bad. Keep digging. There's families that are depending on you. There's communities that are depending on you. There's more open space that's depending on you for this work to be done. For here at Discover Community Church, there's people that need a loving community that's engaged in the process of healing and hope for all. There's people who need to be empowered. There's people who need healing. There's people who need love. There's people who need to experience unity. There's people in this open space that are crying out for the authentic God. And you are the one that has experienced it, that has dug before, that has built wells. You've built ministries, you've built businesses, and you're going to have to do it again. But I promise you, open space is coming. There's opportunities to grow and to expand. And God is creating this space as we fight the good fight, as we move forward and just keep digging. So you might be saying, all right, I hear you. I'm encouraged. I want to keep digging. I want to make this happen. But how do I do this? What does it look like? How do I keep digging financially? How do I keep digging from a mental standpoint? How do I keep digging in this famine? How do I sit and listen to God and hear the next moves that he wants me to do? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because we're going to talk about that next time here at Discover Community Church. If you're in the Maryland area, I want you to come out to Pee Wee Piano and be a part of the live service where we'll have praise and worship and walk through this process. If you can't make it out, we're still going to stream this live so that you can be a part of the loving community that we're building here. I know you're getting tired. I know there's a lot going on. I know the last 9 months feels like 9 years, and I know it gets rough. but I promise you, open space is on the way. I know you're tired, but keep digging.
Wow, what an inspiring word. We're so glad we can experience it together. Before you go, we have a few more things to share with you. To stay connected with us, find out more about what's happening at Discover Community Church, visit us at comediscover.org and follow us on all social media at Come Discover Us. If you'd like to support us with the work that we're doing, you can give securely at comediscover.org. Your generosity helps us make a difference in our community. We also love to see you at a watch party. We gather on first and third Sundays at 11 a.m. and you can register at comediscover.org. If you're here in person, stay tuned for the hangout. We'll dive into more discussion about the sermon, current events, or whatever is on your mind. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We hope you have an amazing week, and we can't wait to see you again.
Join us for our baptism service on Saturday, October 11th at 5 p.m. at First Baptist Church of District Heights at 7234 Lansdale Street in District Heights, Maryland. If you're ready to take this important step in your faith journey, use the QR code to complete the form, to let us know your interest, and to receive more details. Don't miss this powerful moment of faith and fellowship.
DCC is going live in 2025. We are hosting multiple in-person services and we want you to be there. Our services will take place at Pt.1 School of the Arts at 6717 Glendale Road in Glendale, Maryland. Mark your calendars for these special dates and join us. We'll also be hosting several community service projects in conjunction with our in-person services. Be on the lookout to find out how you can get involved. DCC family, we need your help. This Thanksgiving season, we're partnering with King Chris, along with the Black and Missing Foundation, Love's Truth, Oasis Fresh Foods, and DC Shy Pie for a Thanksgiving giveaway, blessing our community with 100 free Thanksgiving meals. Mark your calendars for Saturday, October 25th at Carmody Hills Elementary School in Capitol Heights, Maryland. All 100 meals have been claimed, but we can't do this without you. The event will be from 2 to 4 p.m., but we need volunteers to serve throughout the day between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Whether you have a few hours to spare or the whole day, your hands and heart can make a big difference. Students, this is the perfect chance to earn service hours, and every volunteer will enjoy a free lunch provided by DC Shy Pie. Register as a volunteer using the QR code, but don't wait. The deadline to sign up is October 12th. Let's come together to spread love, service, and unity this holiday season. For more information, please contact Cornelius Berkeley at comediscover.org. DCC is excited to give away a limited number of free tickets to Extraordinary Birthdays, Hope for Kids Fall Festival and Costume Party. The event will be held on Sunday, October 26th from 1 to 4 p.m. in Silver Spring, and there will be games, music, food, raffles, a costume contest, and so much more. Plus, adults can enjoy a special experience with cocktails, food, raffles, and a silent auction. If you'd like to claim a free ticket, please email cornelius.berkeley@comediscover.org with the subject line EOB Hope for Kids tickets to let us know how many child or adult tickets you need. Act fast because we only have a limited number of free tickets available. If you're interested in purchasing tickets for this event, please visit extraordinarybirthdays.org. Christmas is coming and we need you. DCC Kids are supporting the Prince George's County Police Department's Toys for Tots holiday event, and we're building our volunteer team now. Starting in November, the police department will receive large shipments of toys, and when they arrive, they need help to unbox, sort, and organize them. These sorting nights will be held with just a few days' notice and will work in the evenings after deliveries arrive. Volunteers must be age 13 or older. If you're interested in helping when the call comes, email cornelius.berkeley@comediscover.org to let us know you want to be part of the volunteer pool. We'll follow up with more details and exact dates as they become available to help finalize the volunteer list. Please help DCC Kids bless our community in a big way this holiday season. Discover Community Church is here, and here's what you can expect. Join us every first and third Sunday for our worship services. You can tune in online or join us in person at one of our watch parties in Maryland or Virginia. Watch parties are an opportunity to meet the Discover family in person and watch the service stream together. Registration is required. Second and fourth Sundays are self-care Sundays. This is your day to recharge. Spend the day with family and friends, get some rest, catch a movie, or do whatever fills your cup. Every fifth Sunday is our Service Sunday, where we'll host community outreach events, giving us another chance to gather and impact our communities. We can't wait to welcome you to our irresistible church.
Hey DCC kids, when we first and third Sunday, join our watch parties. Hope to see you there.
Your generous donations make a huge impact and allow us to host our Fifth Sunday service projects, sponsor community events, and make donations to local schools and our nonprofit partners throughout the year. Contributions can be made by text to give, Cash App, Tithely, PayPal, and Breeze. Go to comediscover.org to donate. Are you connected? Go to comediscover.org to fill out our connection form and follow us at Come Discover Us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.